Get off the Wi-Fi in here. All right, yeah, it's another car video. Time out is El Cito, the spirit coach. Getting your ass to shape it for the age of Aquarius yet again. And is it common for since for Black Americans? You know what I'm saying? So that means all Americans, especially the ones that's mixed with Native though. But you know what I'm saying? Black Americans to not care about politics. And so, I kind of want to discuss this and I want to get y'all opinion about it because there's some validity to, um, why, what I'm saying? People don't really care about politics. Like if you probably over 25, you probably care about politics. Or if you went to college and you trying to get a job or something like that, you know what I'm saying? That's when you care about politics. But the average individual, you know what I'm saying, that's American, you know what I'm saying, or dark colored, ain't really giving a fuck about politics. So, you know what I'm saying, we gotta figure that out and shit like that, you know what I'm saying? Because it's a game, you know what I'm saying? Politics basically politics is basically a game. We're not picking a game. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like a game. You gotta join a game, right? It's like if you don't join a game, shit, you don't have no survival and no end. Especially if you in some of these industries. So if you in some of these industries and stuff like that, you're not even getting picked unless you really on a side of politics that is relevant at the moment. You get what I'm saying? Like your content, if you ain't relevant to a specific side of politics, Democrat, Republic specifically, you know what I'm saying, you're not going to get picked for um, these jobs. You know what I'm saying? These careers. These personality. You're not going to be picked to be a personality. You're not going to get picked. So, um, yes. Yeah, but if you're not gonna get picked. You know what I'm saying? If you ain't really on one side of this game, you know what I'm saying? Democrat game or Republic game, and you gotta join the game. And they don't come out and tell you that specifically, but it show throughout all the actions. You know what I'm saying? In society, you know what I'm saying? So if you just like a regular person and you living life, and not really cared about politics, but you more like liberal, which would just say, which would be like black, white, you know what I'm saying? You for gays, you for all of that, you just for that, you gonna get put in the Democrat, uh, you know what I'm saying? You gonna get put in the Democrat game, and if you more conservative, then you gonna get put in the motherfucking, you gonna get put in the motherfucking, Republican game. So it's all about like what side you finna choose and whatnot. You know what I'm saying? So they want you to choose a side and things, which leads to, you know what I'm saying, nothing more than, more division and stuff like that. So when we get even to just to the common sense, can y'all hear me all right? Like I got sound and stuff like that. I got sound. Cause this not only for y'all too. This is for politics, for them to understand why people ain't into politics and why they got to go to extreme for people to think they're that for people to get people into politics, like staging fake shit and staging wars and shit like that, and things of that nature. Those are all things that's done on extreme levels to get people in politics, and a lot of them things not really necessarily working no more. So they only at this point utilize y'all, you know what I'm saying, and y'all cultures, and try to shape it up into a certain political ground and stuff right now. So let's say like right now you see a lot more racist, perspectives, you know what I'm saying? So that lets you know more the Republican and their idea is more popular at the moment and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? So um but like if you see right now, you will see a lot of shit, like a lot of crime being promoted, like a lot of y'all apps that y'all own, they're taking a TikTok and promoting more law, like even if it's through y'all musicians or something like that, it's gonna be more gangster music promoted. It's gonna be more of uh, it's gonna be more of that. It's gonna be more thug shit promoted. You know what I'm saying? Where it's not necessarily based upon y'all, it's based upon promoting law and shit like that, and who can lock up. Like even with Skrilla and shit like that, you see his lawyer dancing and shit. You know what I'm saying, to 6 7 and shit like that. You see that type of shit. Like you gonna see that shit. They not gonna promote nothing that's not inside of politics. So what's being demonized right now is the democratic thought. You know what I'm saying? And it's just all reverse psychology for you to pick a side. But the democratic thought is being demonized at the moment. You know what I'm saying? And but it's not necessarily for y'all to hop on the Republican side too. And the perfect example of somebody that tried to do that and shit like that, but they got psyop by them and shit like that is Kanye West and shit like that. I got his shirt on and shit like that, but he got used as an example. You know what I'm saying? Because you saw him come out speaking about more of the Trump shit and more of the Trump side. But then once you see Trump, Elon, and Nick Fuentes and all of them split up and shit like that, you know what I'm saying? You see Kanye, he not saying shit no more. That's because he don't know what side to pick. You know what I'm saying? He don't know if he's gonna get a Jewish psyop ran on him based upon, you know, he don't know. So when it gets to trust in politics and shit, and is it common sense for? No, I don't think it is, and I want to know y'all answers too. Do y'all think it's common sense to trust for people to trust politics? Like I feel like it's common sense. Like white people and shit like that in the government have really no remorse. Like if they have remorse, like they would have said, then they would or empathy or no shame. You know what I'm saying? Because if they had that, like they really said or whatever, it would be more so about, you know what I'm saying, being fair and helping Native Americans and the people that's mixed with Native Americans and their land out. They don't even have that. They don't even be on that. You know what I'm saying? And they don't have no shame about the history of it. That's why you hear Donald Trump making like little remarks like, "Oh yeah, we gonna do our manifest destiny." Like anybody with a type of empathetic position would be would not even say that. You know what I'm saying? Because you like, okay, we ashamed of this history. We don't want to do this history. So it's like they don't got no shame about it. You know what I'm saying? So you got to think about, okay, at that point, if they not ever going to have shame or ever going to have empathy towards, the damage that they done to the communities, especially what they done and mixed in and now calling the black community, and some of the Native Americans that's mixed with Mexican and shit like that. It's a lot of us. But if they never gonna have no empathy or no shame and shit like that, and they always gonna put it in some position where they're just putting shit up to demonize it, and why is it? Why should anyone? Why would anybody trust politics like that? That don't make sense. Like that don't make sense at all. You know what I'm saying? Like that doesn't make sense. If a person ain't seen their grandma, get on their feet and be able to be aided and have a corner store or a gas station or a motherfucking hair shop, you know what I'm saying? Or, and not be marginalized to, a fucking barber shop and not instead of in a hair salon, but not a beauty supply and stuff like that. And then they can allow foreigners to work in your hood and shit like that. Why is no common sense in trusting politics? Like, it's no common sense in things. And then we already know the culture over here. Like, even the schools and the colleges were built up to replace what was already happening over here. And so even if you're not a part of that and shit like that, there's no reason to trust politics. You know what I'm saying? It's no reason. It's like literally no reason. You go to a black neighborhood and shit like that, they like to uh, throw it off on y'all blacks and be like, oh, this is because of y'all and what y'all do and shit like that. Y'all just negative and violent. Yet they forget and they forget the fact that it started over here by y'all cutting all of the trees and shit that was growing over here and shit like that, and the stability that was growing over here, bringing foreigners over here, replacing that, and then saying, oh, well, it's black fathers and shit like that because it's black father's fault and stuff like that they ain't in our lives. Yet y'all stopped a garden growing for about 80% of it. Y'all stopped like 80% of a garden from growing naturally where it is. So obviously it would be behind, and y'all don't necessarily aid that. Y'all don't necessarily be like, oh, no. Every time you ask a white person, well, I gotta go to a job and do this. Oh, well, that's just life. Well, it just is how it is. So if it is how it is, at that point, then it's just common sense not to depend on the government. You know what I'm saying? On politics. We all know Martin Luther King was really just to bring in the black culture. You know what I'm saying? He was a psychological operation for colorism and shit like that, because obviously whites wanted white power and stuff like that over here, where that don't exist really nowhere else and shit like that. Everywhere else is cultures in different places, you know what I'm saying? But that don't exist nowhere else but over here it exists heavy and shit like that. That's because it's made up for over here and rule and control. So it's just common sense, like, right? It's like common sense. Like, I think it's common sense. I think it's common sense. I'm talking about the title. You know what I'm saying? If you feel like it's common sense to trust politics, then say that you feel like that's what you feel. But if you don't, whatever. But yeah, don't know, because it's retarded right now. It's just like it's just too much marginalization for no reason. And then you still got, some so-called blacks still thriving, even with being marginalized. So obviously, if you if you would have just left it alone and stuff like that, it would have grew on its own time and on its own operation. You know, so these are the things that like we gotta think about. Like, you know what I'm saying? And it's like from everything from y'all that y'all watch, everything on each social media that's controlled by a person that is on the side of, you know, white power. You know what I'm saying? And even if they say they black or whatever, you better believe they on the side of white power. You know what I'm saying? Because ain't nobody with no real mind and stuff like that, or no real thought, just claiming black. You know what I'm saying? Like, you gotta know a little bit more about your background and stuff like that. So to know what type of fight you in. You know what I'm saying? Other than that, you could just be a black person that's mixed, and you could be welcoming to the system, because really your bloodline is all you know. Like, your people who were slaves, and like y'all didn't have no, you know, Native American mixed in with y'all and like type shit. You know what I'm saying? So these are things why an average person really don't care, and it's not really hard to see why people don't care. You know what I'm saying? Why people not interested, because they, you know, it's it's not for benefit for y'all. It's not to benefit y'all at all. You know what I'm saying? You can tell. Just go to one of your inner city urban neighborhoods, right? Go to one of your inner city urban neighborhoods, right? And then just go to a city that's being built up, that's new and that's modern. You're gonna see a lot of foreigners. You're gonna see a lot of people that's Indian, that's damn near Mexican, that's you know, different variations of white. You know, you're gonna see and I'm talking about you know, the Indians from East Asia and shit like that, them Asians and shit. Arabs, you're gonna see a bunch of them. You know what I'm saying? So you don't see nothing being developed in black communities or nothing like that. Which that makes sense, because black don't really mean nothing and stuff like that. But they're not trying to help y'all figure out what y'all shit is either. You know what I'm saying? And that's another part that could be better developed. You know, we got movies spent, money spent on movies, taxes spent on rocket ships, taxes spent on motherfucking all type of government projects and shit like that, and they can't even get home straight first. You know what I'm saying? Taxes. Think about how many movies was watched. Think about how many books and how many toys and all of this manufactured business shit was printed and things, and you know what I'm saying, money allocated to different things that don't got nothing to do with helping people that's from the land. You know what I'm saying? So think about all of that. Think about all of that money that could have went to something simple like helping everybody find who they motherfucking ancestors is, or you know what I'm saying, bloodline, like, or you know, or projects that help reinstate re-get the community at a good position, you know, and help people with their, not, because y'all know y'all English is y'all learning a language that ain't a lot of y'all native language. That's a language being learned. You know what I'm saying? So always remember that. That's a language being learned. Like, that ain't your language. That a lot of the shit you being taught in school, that ain't your spiritual system. Uh, that ain't your spiritual system. That ain't your motherfucking culture. You know what I'm saying? This is a new culture. American is a new culture and shit like that. Now, how it's ran and shit like that, and the democracy and what it's based off of, that was built like how you see people being nice and being able to have be civilized and shit like that. That was built by Native Americans. Like that was already over here. Niggas already had language, uh, buildings and stuff like that, and houses. That's what we get houses from, long houses. And we already had a lot of these things already functioning. It's just it got taken over. So you're not seeing, oh, they came over here and did something magical. No, you're seeing infiltration and shit like that. That's why it's always they gotta rock y'all to sleep to to yeah, that's why they always gotta rock y'all to sleep for shit to get really situated and for them and stuff like that. But you know, it ain't no reason that a lot of these neighborhoods and shit like that can't look like these upscale neighborhoods and shit like that, especially in the communities and shit. There's no reason. There's no reason. It's no care for y'all. So, you know, it's just like at this point, like what are y'all waiting for? Like what are y'all waiting for? You know, and this just to push people to have a idea, you know what I'm saying, and be a little bit more, you know, relatable when it comes to, you know, the things that they experience. You know, you got to be a little bit more relatable to the things you experience, the things people experience and stuff like that. And you just got to realize that you in a government that really don't care about you and your shit unless you get in with their program. You know what I'm saying? Unless you go into their college, you ain't gonna get picked for anything. You know what I'm saying? Unless you go to your college or their college or present it their way where, you know, one of their people can look and approve of it. You know, and you know, and that's it. And like, you know what I'm saying? So these are things that the average individual should know when it comes to being in America. You know, there's no remorse for what happened and what is essentially the black community. You know what I'm saying? They actually going to tell you to be grateful. So at that point, like I said, there's no common sense in counting on politics. I don't never know. I've never seen anything in politics that has been helping benefit what. So you them them unless you just saying, oh, for them not to be racist or something like that is a gift and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? That, you know, then that's a harsh you know what I'm saying? That's a harsh thing to accept. Damn, it's just for y'all not to be racist is something I gotta be proud about and shit, for y'all to marginalize me. So a lot of y'all don't realize y'all are just prisoners of war and things, and y'all whole culture is prisoners of war, and it ain't really no favor for you. Yo, how you do things, you know what I'm saying? And then so I think when we have more logical and ideas and thoughts, you know what I'm saying, we can make more rational decisions. You know what I'm saying? Or we can spend our time on being more rational and leading and doing things that are in a more rational sense. You know, I think when we have thoughts like, you know, if I know, if I have a more rational thought about, you know, I'm not gonna be able to pay this to this month or something like that. You know what I'm saying? I have a more idealistic way of how to go about how I'm thinking about something. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I think for the most part, we want to be more ideal. I don't think I think the government and politics is really disconnected. They throwing people up there like Candace Owens and stuff like that. Like, nobody listening to her in the hood. Like, she's a foreigner. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, So what, like, it's just, I think it's just a disconnect. You know what I'm saying? I think it's just a disconnect, and I think they want us to be cool with things that ain't necessarily cool, like, and that ain't gonna keep people interested. And people got to be interested. You know what I'm saying? People can't just be doing whatever, man. People got to be doing whatever. Like, so it's like, then you just see it at you just see it at an extreme point. You know what I'm saying? It's allowing racism, and it's just like y'all acting like black or people that y'all calling racial slurs and stuff like that is a part of the solution in a way where they, you know what I'm saying, feel like that's gonna be beneficial to them. Like, that ain't true. Like, that ain't true. So what y'all think? Y'all think it's common sense for people to not care about politics these days? I think it's common sense, y'all. I think it's common sense. Add a Q&A sticker, $2 per. What the fuck is this? $2 person request. Oh, I see what they're doing. They trying to. That's decent though. I didn't know they can do that on YouTube now. But yeah, so we see a lot of different things, going on, and we see a lot of different things going on out in the world, and we just don't really necessarily feel a part of it. You know what I'm saying? We don't really necessarily feel like we can interact the right way without, like, it being um, we getting the short end of the stick at the end of the day. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I would love to be into the voting system and things if it actually worked, if it actually has some common sense, if it actually was built off honor and built off not being like no psyop or nothing like that. But like, I would love to be a part of that. But it's just like everybody know at this point that's what it is. It's just like it's common sense like that they don't give a fuck about us. It's common sense. You know, it's common sense. We should be able to have our own type shit. You know, so that's what I want everybody kind of to know. Like, because I want politics to know that that's why we ain't into it and shit like that because of the time. And obviously it's 2025. Y'all still trying to push, you know, the wrong thing. Y'all letting the wrong people in business. Ain't nobody watching all of this drill shit and listening to all of that drill shit like that. You know what I'm saying? We is, but we always open. The reason why people are hopping on shit is because it looks like the right thing to do. Obviously, y'all got the platforms and shit like that with the money that y'all gonna get the most money to the people that's looking like they doing the right thing. So obviously, if y'all make violence and shit look like that, like the right thing to do, obviously that's what people gonna choose. Especially people that don't got no brain, you know what I'm saying? Or they own, they gonna choose that. They gonna be like, okay, this seems like I should be out here, doing this. You know what I'm saying? And no shade, you know what I'm saying? I'm from the hood. Shit, my mama from what they call O Block now. You know what I'm saying? So you gotta think, I'm just a mind removed from that. Like, she didn't want to be in that area where she had to succumb to them thoughts and stuff like that of being, a project baby. So obviously she had me and shit like that, and I'm a more living representation of that. You know what I'm saying? I'm not a project baby, but shit, you know what I'm saying? My background and shit like that, shit. I live in the hood and stuff like that, but my mind ain't. You know what I'm saying? I was born with the mentality of my mom trying to get out of that. You know what I'm saying? Try to get out of that. So that's what the fuck I am and shit. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, like, cause I just think about everybody that's genuinely like online, right? That's just trying to get on, like they're just trying to put it on. Y'all don't realize like if you online, you genuinely trying to get on, like you genuinely trying to push your brand and stuff like that. You have to have a college background for the most part to actually be picked because you're gonna have to have the thoughts that a college person have. You know what I'm saying? And that's really just, oh, I gotta survive, and this is the only way to survive, type shit. That's what they need you to think. You know what I'm saying? Now you might have a one-offs and shit like that that may be working with the alphabet boys and stuff like that, but you know what I'm saying? And those be like the drug dealers and shit like that, and gang members and shit like that. Gang members don't realize y'all work with the police. Y'all work with the police, like on every level. It's just y'all get y'all 1-2 together better, based upon y'all having the mentality like, man, fuck this. I'm gonna go up somebody's head quicker than the person that ain't gonna do that. But y'all work with the police. That's why y'all. It's always gonna be uh, popular gangster music and shit like that. It's music that we fuck with and shit like that. That's more moral and shit like that. And there's people that's more moral and shit like that. But your records ain't gonna sell if you ain't talking about that shit. So we already know who's behind the record selling. White boy. White boy and whoever else that's in that vein, that whoever else is in that vein of existence and shit like that. Even if it's an Asian or Pakistani, they still in that vein of existence of business. Okay, we got to do American business, and American business is to get rid of all the people that have the native idea, aka they don't want to be a part of that shit. So it don't matter if you black, white, whatever. If you got that idea and shit like that, you placed in that algorithm. You placed in that algorithm. Now I don't know, y'all. Like I don't know. So I mean, you can leave comments at the end of what you think. You know what I'm saying? But it's truly no nothing. You know what I'm saying? It's no fluidness in that. You know what I'm saying? There's no reciprocation in that. There's no balance in that. And what y'all talking about? If, I'm telling you, you talk to anybody, any politic, like I'm talking, and you come down to it, it's just gonna be like, oh, it is what it is. Just shut up and follow rules. It ain't gonna be like, oh, we can help you or nothing like that. It's gonna be like, go vote. You know what I'm saying? And that's gonna set you off 20, 30, 100, 50, 60 years. We ain't seen nothing yet. What we got Atlanta, and Atlanta is being gentrified right now. So like we ain't seen nothing over the last 300 years. Over 300 years, shit. Over the last, yeah, since y'all been here. So I just want y'all to know, like, it's just common sense. Like, what is y'all trusting? No, because much like all the people who ignored the Vietnam War and got drafted to go into the fight, you may ignore history, but history will not ignore you for your own sake. Pay attention. I don't get what you're saying. My question was, first of all, are you black? Your name Adrian Turner. That sounds like a white name. So, but are you black? And then what I'm saying is it common sense. So if your answer is no, then I mean I guess that's your answer. But we trying to figure it out. I don't get what you're saying. That's what we try to figure out. Like, what part of politics is black people trusted at this point? You know what I'm saying? Like, just to be in business, just to be in marginalized business. Is that what we trusted? Just to give us one one person that's controlled for us to be satisfied with? Like, we supposed to be satisfied with Jay-Z being a billionaire and all of us not being a billionaire, and then more than you got more, like Jay-Z is black billionaires is like 1%. I don't even know if it's Native American billionaires that might not look like they didn't got mixed or something like that. You know what I'm saying? So what is y'all trusting? What is it? I don't get why it's so. Would it make me trust politics if I look outside and see shit change? And see, like, physically see, okay, this look like I ain't seeing that. I ain't seeing that. Now I can't keep listening to nobody talk now. I can't keep listening to nobody talk. My mama told me don't do that. My mama told me don't do that. You know what I'm saying? People who get to talking a good game and stuff like that. That y'all on the low priority list. Blacks, y'all mixed with, you know what I'm saying, all type of you know, minorities that they want to call y'all. So, like, what is it? Like, what is it? What is it? And they fool y'all too. Like I told Kanye, like with my other videos, or my warning video or whatever I put to him, like, they're gonna make you prove what you know. And the moment you don't know nothing and shit like that, that's when they got you. So they'll give you a spotlight, they'll turn you up and shit. They ain't shit. They got the money to do that. You know what I'm saying? They act like they don't do it, but they act like they need a puppet to do it. Like, they act like they need somebody that you need to show them certain qualities. You know what I'm saying? You need to show them certain qualities. If you don't show them some certain qualities and shit like that, you're not getting picked. It's just like y'all and stuff like that. Y'all know when people come around y'all, if people don't show y'all certain qualities and shit like that, like they gonna be a benefit of to y'all or whatever, or y'all group and y'all circle and shit like that. Y'all ain't finna have them around. Oh, this person got a different mentality. They cool and shit like that, but no, they ain't really. You know what I'm saying? So it's like that. So y'all always got to think, what is my mind in? You know what I'm saying? Because your mind and the things that is on your mind, they lead to a certain space. You know what I'm saying? So if you think, room 222 is room 234 and stuff like that, and room 234 don't necessarily exist, but you just read it like that real quick. Your mind is in that space. So therefore, at the end of the day, that's what your logic gonna go on until you go to that space and you realize all that. You start to realize. You start to realize that that shit ain't a room. You know what I'm saying? It was 222 all along. You feel me? So now you gotta go. Now you gotta go to 222. That's just a simple bad analogy of it. But I'm just trying to let y'all know that all of y'all mind being aware is something matters. You know what I'm saying? Because then what's on your mind lead to your actions, lead to your thoughts, lead to your feelings and conversations about it. So if a lot of y'all not, critically thinking in certain areas and shit like that that should be critically thought about, you know what I'm saying, then we don't have no real discussions. If America would do the Native Americans like that, why wouldn't they do y'all like that? You know what I'm saying? And let's say we ain't gotta be petty like that and have a discussion or whatever. But okay, let us at least, hear some, see some. Oh, we're kind of sorry about this. Like we're really sorry about this. You got money spent billions on the entertainment industry and science that don't really do shit. And, you know what I'm saying? Unnecessary police force. Yet, if y'all was able to give somebody aid and shit like that, then it wouldn't be no necessary need for no police force. That's what I'm thinking. It's like a lot of the crime would be down because a lot of the crime that's happening with the blacks is because money. And when you go to a motherfucking, when you look into a motherfucking, and when you look at them, let's see, that's what I'm saying. When you look at this, who face on it? A white boy. Who face on it? It ain't y'all face. So y'all dying for that. So it's like either you gonna look at this shit like it's like a scheme, witchcraft or shit like that, but it ain't common sense to be trusting the government these days. I don't know. I don't know. It ain't common sense. It ain't common sense. It ain't common sense. That we can just start there. We could start there. To be honest, we can start there. Like just start there. It's not common sense. Like it's not common sense. Now whether they want to hear that part, you know what I'm saying? So y'all gonna either hear them have extreme gaslighting part, like that part don't exist. That's just gonna prove more of our point that it ain't common sense because even when we have a opinion or something like that, they ain't checking for it. So it's either gonna be that way, you know what I'm saying, or you know what I'm saying, they gonna reach out or something like that and help and put people in positions and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Because we gotta have more realistic thought, more relatable thoughts. So if we all be like, okay, we don't want to vote, you know what I'm saying? What is we voting for? Like we need some type of real substantial thing to vote for. Like, what about other issues? It ain't just about building up y'all society and money. You know what I'm saying? A lot of these things that don't help y'all function in society, like, you know what I'm saying? Some of their ideologies may be different. Like, they not taking Asia's ideologies and shit like that. They having their own ideologies and shit and living off that. You get what I'm saying? Now we may all share similar, but a lot of these ideologies is tailored to the individual and their spiritual group and where they came from. So if y'all erasing that and shit like that, what type of shit is that? A person ain't gonna have no no hope. You know what I'm saying? And thankfully, people like me here and stuff like that, because we help people that that is indigenous get back to some of our spiritual mind and shit, and that we don't have to see it, the way they doing it. But y'all understand that is what help a person. Like, what I'm saying? Would you want to live off China ideologies if you not China? You know what I'm saying? I don't think so. That would cripple you and your people. So why is y'all forcing people to live off American ideologies and then demonizing them when they don't live up to that? Like, that don't sound right. That sound backwards. And I would think like y'all would be intelligent, like politics. Like, y'all not intelligent? Or is it just like y'all intelligent at ruling type shit? Because that's all people want to do is like know, like, have a thought about shit. Like, y'all intelligent at trying to rule and slowly kill and disintegrate. Like, is that y'all talent? You know what I'm saying? Because we trying to get like familiar. Like, we ain't trying to, you know what I'm saying? Right? That way we'll know how to think about shit. You know what I'm saying? We have to protect and preserve and shit. Yeah, but time out. Let's still see this spirit coach. Get you in shape for him for this Asian play. I love all y'all. Get y'all ass together.